Question 41 says the pie chart above shows the statistical distribution of 80 students in 5 subjects in an examination. Calculate how many students offer mathematics. So, since it's a pie chart, you know that a circle has 360 degrees total, and these are all given in terms of degrees, so you can add all of these up and solve for x, and then solve for how much math is worth. So 6x plus 12 comes from here. Then I add the 5x, another 5x, the 16x minus 24, and the 4x plus 12. So I combined all my like terms. And so adding all of these, I got 36 right here. And then all of these, 12, negative 24, and 12 add up to 0. So now I have 36x is equal to 360, meaning that x is equal to 10. Now that I know what x is equal to, I can figure out how much math is worth. So 5 times 10 is 50 degrees. However, that's not the full question. So, question 41 says, calculate how many students offer. So how many students? Well, there's a total of 80 students. So what you're going to do is you're going to say 50 out of the 360 is the same as saying 5/36, or approximately 5 over 35, which is 1/7. Well, what's 1/7 of 180? Well, that would be 11.4, which is not an option. It's actually not anywhere near any of your options, and so you would leave it blank. Question 42 wants us to find the mean of these 4 quantities. So remember that they're giving us 4 separate quantities. Oh, sorry, that's one, and then that's another one. And so that means that there's 4 terms total. That comes in handy later on. So the next thing that we need to do is add all of these up. So I combined my like terms with all the t's, and I got 8t. These other numbers without the t's happen to add up to 0. So I'm just at 8t, and that's how much, that was their sum. But to find the average, I need to take that sum and divide it by how many terms there were. So that's why I divide by 4 here. So I have 8t divided by 4 is equal to 2t, and so my answer is option D. Question 43 says the mean of 7 numbers is 10. If 6 of the numbers are 2, 4, 8, 14, 16, and 18, find the mode. So the mean of the numbers is 10. That means the average. So the sum over the number of terms gives me 10. So that means that the sum is going to be 70 if I just solve for the sum here. So sum is equal to 70. Also, we know 6 of the terms. So I listed them here, and then I added plus x to get the 7th term, and then set it equal to 70. I added up all of the numbers, and I got 62 plus x is 70. Then I solved for x, and I got x is equal to 8. 8 was another number that showed up here. Because remember, the final question that they're asking is, what is the mode? That mode is the number that shows up the most frequently. So 8 is here, and 8 is here. It's the only number that shows up more than once, meaning that your mode is 8. So your answer is option D. Question 44 wants us to calculate the median age of the frequency distribution in the table above. So basically it just wants us to find the median. So we have to list these numbers out in order from least to greatest, and that's actually fairly easy to do with the way that they've presented us with the information. So they've already listed it in least to greatest. So now all we have to do is list the frequencies of each one. So 20 shows up 3 times, so I wrote 23 times. There was 5 people with 20 that were the age of 25, so I wrote 25 5 times. 30 showed up once, 35 once, 40 twice, and 45 5 more times. So then what you have to do here is find the number that's in the middle. So let's see if I did this right, because I'm realizing that these are out here and they don't have slashes through them. So let's try it. the number in the middle would be, well, you cross off this one, and then this one, and then this one. And you just keep going. The simpler way to do this is to see how many numbers you have in total, and then divide it by 2, and then you'll be easily arriving at your center, which, by the way, is not going to be 25. Your center is 30. So your answer is option D. Question 45 says if the variance of 3x, 6, 4x, and 7 minus x is 4, and the mean is 5, find the standard deviation. So variance is the same thing as taking the standard deviation and squaring it. And so they just told us that the variance of these numbers is 4. So you don't even have to do anything with these numbers. All you have to do is know that standard deviation is the square root of variance. That's the relationship that they have. So that means that since variance is 4, I take the square root of 4 and I get 2. And that's my standard deviation, so that's option D. The table above shows the scores of 20 students in further mathematics test. What is the range of the distribution? Just remember that range means you take the highest number and subtract the lowest number. So the highest number was 10 and the lowest number was 3. You don't even have to pay attention to the frequencies. You just say 10 minus 3 and you get 7, and your range is C. Question 47 says, in how many ways can a student select 2 subjects from 5 subjects? So this would be 5 choose 2, which the formula to use here would be n factorial over r factorial minus n minus r factorial. And so remember, you do n choose r. So 5 choose 2, 5 goes in for n, 2 goes in for r. And so then you're left with 5 factorial over 2 factorial times 3 factorial in the denominator, and that would be your option A. Question 48 says, in how many ways can 3 seats be occupied if 5 people are willing to sit? And so this is a type of permutation. So the formula for this is just n factorial over n minus r factorial. So you have n is your total number of people, so that would be 5. And r is the 3 seats that can be occupied. And so you're going to do 5 factorial over 2 factorial. 5 minus 3 is 2. And so you can write these out. 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. 2 times 1, and then you cancel out these numbers that appear on the denominator and the numerator, and you're left with 5 times 4 times 3, which is 20 times 3, which is 60. So your final answer is C. Question 49 says, what is the probability that an integer x, where x is between 1 and 25, including 1 and 25, is chosen at random, is divisible by both 2 and 3? So first off, you need to know how to check for a number that's divisible by 2 and divisible by 3. So to check if a number is divisible by 2, you just have to see that the number is even. To check if a number is divisible by 3, you just have to see if the numbers add up to a factor of 3. So for instance, 6 is a factor of 3, so that's easy to do. 12 might be easy to do in your head, but also notice 1 plus 2 is 3, which is a factor of 3. With 18, 1 plus 8 is 9, that's a factor of 3. 2 plus 4 is 6, that's a factor of 3. So first I crossed out the odd numbers because those would not be divisible by 2. Then I checked for out of the numbers that were left, I checked for those that were divisible by 3 and I circled them. And so they want to know what is the probability that an integer chosen fits this criteria. So my total number of options here, if I were to count up all my options, is 25, but only 4 of them fit my criteria. So 4 out of 25 is the probability, and my answer is A. Question 50 says a basket contains 9 apples, 8 bananas, and 7 oranges. A fruit is picked from the basket find the probability that it is neither an apple nor an orange. So you will have 9, 8, and 7 of each kind of fruit, and you add them up to figure out how many you have possible. That will be your denominator. Then you need to put what you want on top. So not an apple, not an orange means that you only want bananas. So 8 out of 24, and then you reduce that to get 1/3, and your answer is option D.